All right. It is a late night broadcast. Today, we are going to be talking about two different major pieces of news. This on screen is the big guy coming out of California yesterday. This is from what the New York Times and Forbes magazine is reporting, is essentially a control mechanism that will be embedded into new iPhone 13s. So generally, what I understand this to be is sort of like screen time, except you're going to have artificial intelligence on the phone. And the onboard artificial intelligence system is going to be looking at your child's messages. And essentially, that data is not going anywhere. But what Apple is saying is that a parent can turn this on and get notified when your child has a text message come in, or if a nude image is sent out. So this is extraordinary. Sort of like screen time, except for CSAM, child abuse material, child XXX abuse material. And this would essentially work if anyone texting your child is going to be receiving any kind of message. The system is going to scan to see if it is a nude image. And it doesn't have to be CSAM, but the nude image will come up as blocked. And then it will give the child this option saying, this could be sensitive to view. Are you sure you want to view this? I'm sure, the child says. And then ultimately the phone tells the child, it's your choice, but your parents want to know you're safe. If you decide to view this, your parents will get a notification to make sure you're okay. Don't share anything you don't want to. Talk to someone you trust if you feel pressured. You're not alone, and you can always get help. This is extraordinary. I have been saying for, I want to say, over a year now, at least a year, that Apple needs to be giving parents the ability to modify iPhones, to take out the camera out of the phone. Modular pieces that a parent can install or remove as they wish, to give their child no ability to take any image of themselves. So this is important for a number of reasons, but we already are seeing the New York Times and Forbes has done a great job with trying to get some blowback. And as we would expect with something like this, privacy, people that are concerned about privacy and the criminal justice system, they are interested in not really protecting children, but protecting what they believe are privacy rights, thinking that this is an overreach on Apple's part. But it's essentially something that gets turned on by the parent on the child's phone. And I'm assuming it would work in conjunction with screen time. Screen time, if you don't know, is a parental control mechanism that is integrated into Apple's system. I have tested it thoroughly, and there are many bugs with it. I would have hoped that Apple would have fixed the bugs with screen time before they start focusing on stuff like this. But it's great that they're trying to draw attention to this. Apple lately has been coming at this industry with this privacy first mentality. Most people are cynical and think that it's just a marketing ploy, essentially saying that Apple does the same thing as everybody else. And by them pointing out, what other apps are doing in their phone, they're essentially trying to divert the attention away from themselves. So the New York Times is reporting this. I couldn't find the original source on Apple's website. I looked, but it's very credible. This is a custom image here. I'm assuming Apple produced this. It looks like Apple graphics on an iPhone 12. I'm assuming at least one of them is an iPhone 12. So this is very serious stuff, and it's apparently coming with iOS 13. And let me see what so New York Times is reporting that I believe so. It was announced yesterday, apparently, but I couldn't find anything on Apple's website about this. The article goes into note, Apple reported 265 cases of child abuse material, child XXX abuse material in 2020 compared to Facebook with 20 million in 2020. So there's two different systems happening. One system is actually going to go out and send bots or artificial intelligence scanning through people's iClouds. I think this is what people are more upset about when it comes to privacy. But they are suggesting that they will scan and match any CSAM, child XXX abuse material, against known child XXX material. So NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in the US, fields all these reports from these companies, these websites, technology companies, technology services, I think is what they're referred to. And when they field this report, essentially they create this database of CSAM. And this CSAM database is then going to be matched against what is inside regular Apple users' iClouds. So if you have an iCloud and you have CSAM in there, I would delete it. Because what's coming is Apple is going to be scanning for that. Now, this is going to deter a lot of people from storing CSAM in their iClouds. Yes, great. But both of these measures are simply reactive. That is the big problem here, that both of these measures are reactive. And what I'm going to be talking about next is also reactive. Measures coming from the Canadian government. Canada last week announced major plans to target illegal content on Facebook, YouTube, Pornhub, and other platforms. So they are putting forth what is referred to as the Online Safety Bill, I believe. I'm just confirming that. I believe it's called the Online Safety Bill. Okay, can't find it. So I'm going to pull up the webpage that the Canadian government is asking you. I don't believe they have to be in Canada to participate in this, but they're asking Canadians to participate. This is, I'm going to put, after this live stream is done, I will put the link to this in the video's description. And this is a technical paper along with what the government is saying, have your say. They're looking for feedback from the general public to address harmful content online. Again, another reactive measure. This is not going to prevent anything, even though we have the means to prevent harmful content. We have the means to do it. But what the Canadian government is looking to do is they're looking to be, again, reactive. So the Canadian government of Canada is committed to taking meaningful action to combat hate speech and other kinds of harmful online content. Content online, including child exploitation content, terrorist content, content that incites violence, and the non-consensual sharing of intimate images. Again, all of this already illegal. So keep this in mind. This is nothing new in Canada. It is something that the government is saying that we want to do something about this. We want to try and be more reactive. We don't want to prevent it. This is kind of like Facebook being proud of 20 million child abuse material reports to NCMEC. If you don't know, Mark Zuckerberg was very proud of 20 million reports to NCMEC. He was proud because they caught 20 million reports, not because they prevented any, but because they caught 20 million. So on this webpage, you're going to find a discussion guide and a technical paper. And then starting on July 29th, which was last week, stakeholders and Canadians can submit comments by email. So all you can do is submit comments by email. Or I'm assuming that you can write a letter too. So You can say that you are a stakeholder if you're not in Canada, and email letting them know what you think about this. So let's go through this discussion guide, a list of acronyms. All right. Basic Subscriber Information, CSIS, Mandatory Reporting Act. An act respecting the mandatory reporting of internet child porn by persons who provide an internet service. This is already a law, I believe. NICEC, the National Child Exploitation Crime Center, I believe is Canada's response to NICMIC. The board, the advisory board, the commissioner. So this is what they're looking to create, I believe, the Digital Safety Commissioner. They're looking to create jobs. So they're looking to create jobs in trying to be reactive to illegal content. That's great. That's great that they're looking to, give their friends in government job. I commend them for trying to create jobs for their buddies in Parliament and on the peripherals of Parliament. But this feels like already a joke. The government believes in supporting a safe, inclusive, open online environment. In partnership with the Ministers of Justice, Public Safety, the Minister of Canadian Heritage, is publishing a detailed technical paper that outlines the government's proposed approach to regulating social media and combating harmful content online. Approach to regulating social media and combating harmful content online. That and there is that is very big. The government intends to introduce a bill in the fall of 2021. This consultation is an important step to provide Canadians and stakeholders with the opportunity to better understand the proposed approach and for the government to consider additional perspectives. There is supposedly an election coming soon in Canada. So all this could die if the Liberals do not continue forward as leaders in power. So it goes on to give some background information here. Talks about hate speech, social media being used to spread terrorist propaganda, counseling of offline violence, recruiting extremists, and the big one, social media platforms are also used to sexually exploit kids. Women and girls predominantly are victimized through the sharing of intimate images without consent. Already an illegal, this is already illegal in Canada. So, all right. A new legislative and regulatory framework for social media platforms. The new legislative and regulatory framework would target the most egregious and reprehensible types of harmful content online, including criminal content and content of national security concern. Who and what would be regulated? New legislation would apply to online communication service providers, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Pornhub. It would not apply, apparently, to places like Travelocity. Even though those are social media networks, it would not apply to like what is that site for reviews? It is I forget what the site is called, but there's a review site that's also going to be exempt. So it's going to target 5 categories: terrorist content that's looking to incite violence, hate speech, non-consensual, and child exploitation content. Again, all of these illegal here in Canada. The new legislation would set out a statutory requirement for regulated entities to take all reasonable measures to make harmful content inaccessible in Canada. They're not looking to have it removed. So if you have harmful content that has been deemed harmful content, they're basically saying, you don't have to remove this. You don't have to remove this Facebook. You don't have to remove this Instagram. We just don't want Canadians to see it. This is a joke already. It's a joke. We don't want Canadians to see it. We don't want you to take it down. We want you to just make it inaccessible in Canada. Now, think about that for a minute. Think about what that actually means. They're essentially going to make these broad sweeping changes and deem something to be illegal content. But then they're going to say it can stay up in other countries. We're just going to be focused here in Canada. So other countries can deal with that illegal content. It's a joke. This is a joke. So what they're saying is the response, if these companies fail to comply and make this, if they're saying that something is illegal, they're saying that they want to have that content inaccessible within 24 hours. And then what they're doing is they're going to be having a reporting mechanism, and that the content needs to be kept intact, or that all content needs to be kept intact for a period of, I believe, 1 year. And then they're saying they want to administer financial penalties to these companies that are outside of Canada. And that if they don't essentially, if they don't comply or pay these exuberant fees, that an exceptional recourse would essentially be to apply to federal court to seek an order to require telecommunication service providers to implement a blocking or filtering mechanism to prevent access to all or part of a service in Canada that has repeatedly refused to remove this content. So what they're essentially saying is that they're going to go, if you are Facebook and you are, having material still available in Canada, not removing it. We don't care about removing it, Canada says. What we care about is that it's not accessible in Canada. Other countries, all of them can make this content available for the rest of the world. They can download it, they can share it, but it just can't be shared in Canada. That's what they're saying here. And that if Facebook doesn't make it inaccessible in Canada, that they'll get a court order to essentially go to all of the internet providers across Canada to make them block Facebook or part of Facebook. That is an exceptional step. Facebook is not a resident of Canada. Facebook is headquartered, I believe, in Texas, and they are under no obligation to follow Canadian law. But do they want to lose Canadians as, do we want to have all of Facebook blocked in Canada? Does Facebook want all of Canada blocked? Probably not. So they will strong arm Facebook into making it inaccessible in Canada. That's what they're trying to do here. And that's what the other legislations that we have seen proposed here in Canada in the last little bit. We have a senator from Quebec, Senator Meville-Deschamps. She has, in September of last year, she introduced a bill that essentially says that there needs to be age verification for everyone looking at sites like Pornhub. And if you don't do it, the same mechanism. They want to block websites. So this is the framework before the bill is supposedly coming in the fall. But obviously, that means that the government, the Liberal government, needs to stay in power. So if you wanted, the Liberals are basically saying, we could have introduced this a little bit ago, but we chose not to. We had a senator, and we also had a conservative. The conservative was what is his name? The conservative is an MP from Alberta, and his name is Arnold Viersen. Arnold Viersen has brought forth a bill, I believe a private member's bill. This is not like a whole party, because I don't know that the whole party can bring about a bill. Maybe they can. I don't think I know enough about the rules of Canadian Parliament to make that assumption. So Arnold Viersen comes out after Julie Meville-Deschamps, and he has put forth a bill that is going after porn sites, that if they don't obtain, if they don't get consent in writing from all of the performers on camera, then they can essentially have the power to do the same thing, block the website. That's what they're, that's the only thing really, that's the only power the government believes they have here. And all of these measures, all of it is reactive. So it is reactive in that, well, I guess it could be argued that the senator's bill is looking to be proactive, but we really can't make this assumption because we don't know where this content is going to go. And it doesn't do anything to stop the content being created. The content is still going to get created. It's going to get created on social media. You're going to have scam artists. You're going to have people bullying people. You're going to have online extortionists. You're going to have predators looking to meet up with children. That's what you're going to have elsewhere. If we just focus on one particular area of what the issue is, the issue as a whole, then we're losing sight. And I want to make sure that everyone that is watching this has this ability to speak up about this, because you should be speaking up about this. If you want to be speaking up about this, this is the email. You are considered a stakeholder if you are viewing this. The proposals are going to be, the deadline, I believe it said somewhere, the discussion guide. Let me see the discussion guide again. I believe it was September 15th. Maybe I read that in an article, but if they're saying that they want to get started on this bill in the fall, you don't have a lot of time. Get your family, your friends, and send the Canadian government an email. I urge you. Who's handling the protection of your children? The Department of Canadian Heritage. That's who's handling this. That's how much they care. Now, he's working, this minister is working in conjunction with the Minister of Justice, I believe. Man, all of this is going to be just a blast to read. So please read through this, every single word, and let them know what you think. But in short, this is what they're looking to put on the table. That if you make a report to YouTube, TikTok, Pornhub, then essentially, I don't believe that's where it ends. I think the digital commissioner is the person that essentially you would have to go to. The new job that they're creating, or that they want to create. The Digital Safety Commissioner, to support 3 bodies that would operationalize, oversee, and enforce the new regime. So it's basically going to be like you have to go and make an application as like a self-represented person. You have to kind of navigate through this legal framework that they are setting up. If TikTok or Facebook refuses to do anything, you then go to the Digital Safety Commissioner. And then they make this demand of Facebook, 24 hours or else. How much time has elapsed since now this illegal content has been online? Who knows? We don't have the rules here. I doubt we have all of the rules that are going to be put into place. But we can expect that it's going to be a little bit. If they're going to try and tag Facebook with a $25 million fine, they're not going to just give Facebook 24 hours to do something. Every time you push the flag button on Facebook, that's not going to result in a $25 million fine if Facebook doesn't take it down. That's not what they're saying here. What they're saying here is that they're going to have like an intermediary. that this digital commissioner is going to be the person that you go to now if you're in Canada. And now how long is that backlog going? This is going to be a backlog of reports now. And this is going to function great like the rest of government does. But essentially what they're going to do is try and strong arm Facebook and all the other big social media companies into doing what they say without due process. I don't know if there's going to be due process. I don't know if there's going to be someone at this recourse council, this digital recourse council. I don't know if they are going to sit down and take a look at your child's abuse material on Facebook, consider it to be abuse material, and then make some kind of independent judgment, allowing for Facebook to have a say. Because that's typical due process, which is allowing the responding party to have a say. This is a very complex issue, and they are overcomplicating it, essentially making persons that have been harmed, trying to turn them into self-advocates of sorts. This is going to get severe scrutiny. Already, people are saying that, again, this is going to attack free speech. Who's going to be the arbiter of what free speech is? Are you, or is a jury, or is some digital commissioner going to do that within some kind of framework that's not going to infringe on constitutional rights? So this is a joke. It's going to just go in circles like this, like what's happening in Europe with the online, I forget what it's called. It's an age verification bill for explicit websites. But again, it's going to go nowhere. That's been happening in Europe for a few years now. We need to get proactive. We need to stop it before it's happening. We need online accountability. And if we don't do this one thing, if we don't have identity verification online, and what comes with identity verification online is age verification. It's kind of one and the same. If we don't do this, then we can essentially not have, we can't have real online accountability. We're going to play games with Facebook saying, oh, you got to take this down now. It's been 24 hours. And if you don't, we're going to threaten to pull the plug on all Canadians to your service. But it's not even take it down. It's not even take it down. It's make it inaccessible in Canada. That's the problem here, I see, with this. It's a great attempt to try and be reactive at a problem that you think you can't control. But generally, we can control it. If we have online verification of everyone on social media, just think about it. Would we have people sharing child sex abuse materials if they were verified online? Probably not. Would we have online bullying and scam artists trying to scam people online if we had online accountability? If we had real identity verification of all users on all social media? Probably not. Will we be having the production or distribution of child pornography on social media if that was actually happening? Probably not. It is time for healthier social media. Look in the description box right now. Go and watch some videos as to what Defend is doing about these kinds of issues right now. And I urge you to send an email to the Canadian government. It's going to be in the description box. Send them an email and tell them that you want age and ID verification for everyone on social media. But that's the only way that this works. That's the only way that we truly have online accountability, which we need desperately, desperately. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time. Be safe.